The headlines are blazing. Social media is in meltdown, and South Africa is in shock. A former top ANC official, once one of the most powerful figures in the ruling party, has just been arrested in connection with an explosive multi-million rand fraud scandal. The news broke early this morning, sending shockwaves through the nation and rattling the very core of the African National Congress. This arrest is more than just another corruption case. It's a symbol of how deep the rot inside the ruling party has spread, and it's already tearing open old wounds within the ANC's top ranks. Just after dawn, cameras captured the dramatic scene as investigators from the Hawks, South Africa's elite crime-fighting unit, escorted the former ANC heavyweight out of a luxury estate north of Johannesburg. Handcuffed, head bowed, and surrounded by heavily armed officers, the once powerful politician was driven away under tight police guard. His fall from grace captured live on national television. Sources close to the investigation say the arrest was linked to a months-long investigation into fraudulent contracts worth tens of millions of rand linked to community development projects with public funds. The money allegedly vanished into offshore accounts and shell companies controlled by close associates of the former official. This wasn't some small-time scam. This was an orchestrated network of fraud and kickbacks reaching into high levels of government. An insider said the suspect faces multiple charges including fraud, money laundering, and abuse of public office. According to the Hawks, behind the legalese of that indictment, though, lies an explosive political truth. This arrest has reopened old wounds of corruption and betrayal that have haunted the ANC for decades. This is a stunning fall from grace for a man who once was described as untouchable. During his time in government, the now detained official was seen as a rising star, a deal-maker, a kingmaker, someone whose influence reached deep into the heart of the ANC. It said his signature can make or break political careers. But over time, the whispers grew louder. Missing funds, questionable spending, unaccounted donations. When President Ramaphosa came to power promising to clean house, this official slipped out of the spotlight, resigning from cost and citing family obligations. Very few thought that was the end of the story, and now the truth has finally caught up with him. Inside the ANC, tempers are afraid. Party spokespeople have scrambled to contain the political fallout, offering cautious statements that emphasize no one is above the law. But in private, insiders are in a panic. This arrest could open the floodgates. One senior member admitted, if investigators follow the money trail, more names will come out and it won't stop with him. Already, speculation is rife that this may not be an isolated incident, but the first falling domino in a broader investigation. Several provincial leaders are reportedly under investigation for their involvement in similar fraudulent schemes. Investigators have quietly widened the scope of their probe to look at long-standing contracts awarded to companies with political connections. The scandal is threatening to further divide the ANC at a time when public trust in the party is already hanging by a thread. Opposition parties are not letting up in capitalizing on the chaos. Both the Democratic Alliance and the Economic Freedom Fighters unleashed blistering attacks, labeling the arrest proof that the ANC is rotten to its core. DA leader John Steenhuisen released a fiery statement saying, "This is not an isolated case. It is part of a pattern, a culture of theft that has defined the ANC for decades. South Africans deserve accountability, not excuses." The EFF's Julius Malema took to social media, warning that this was only the beginning, and the real lutters are still hiding behind the curtains of power. Public reaction has been fierce across social media platforms, a mix of outrage, disbelief, and exhaustion. To many, it was another betrayal by leaders who had promised integrity, but delivered only corruption. Every time they tell us that the ANC is cleaning up, another one gets caught. One frustrated citizen tweeted, "How deep does this go?" Already outside Luthuli House, protesters have waved placards reading "Enough is enough" and "Stop the looting." This scandal has turned into a rallying cry for citizens demanding transparency, accountability, and an end to impunity among political elites. For many, this is a breaking point, the one that finally pushes the nation toward real reform or further into political decay. The Hawk said the investigation was far from complete. More arrests are expected in the coming days, as forensic accountants trace the flow of money through multiple bank accounts and shell companies across jurisdictions. If convicted, The former ANC official could face decades behind bars, but the ramifications go beyond his personal fate. His conviction could trigger an internal chain reaction in the party, exposing a network of hidden financial dealings that stretch back years. Senior ANC members are reportedly meeting in secret to discuss damage control, fearing this single case could unravel a web of corruption which many believed would never see daylight. Political analysts say this couldn't have come at a worse time. National elections are looming, and an already flagging ANC may suffer more at the polls. "This is more than a criminal case," said one political commentator on live broadcast. "It's a political earthquake. It shows the cracks right at the top of the ANC, and the people are watching closely." Others say the party's brand, once synonymous with liberation and hope, has come to be defined by greed, betrayal, and scandal. Both supporters and critics alike wonder whether the ANC can emerge intact from the latest corruption crisis without imploding under its own weight. This arrest isn't about one corrupt politician. It is about a system that allowed greed to thrive unchecked. It is about public money stolen, while the communities struggled with poverty, unemployment, and collapsing services. It is about promises made to the people of South Africa, and promises that were never kept. For many, this feels like déjà vu. Another high-profile arrest, another press conference, another vow to bring the corrupt to justice. But the real question lingers in the air. Will this time be any different? Will justice truly be served? Or will the story fade into silence once the cameras stop rolling and the headlines move on? As investigators dig deeper, the net is slowly closing in on the ANC. Sources close to the party claim its leadership now fears the inquiry will reveal deeply entrenched webs of influence between high-ranking officials, big business, and even foreign operatives who have benefited from decades of corruption with impunity. Some call for internal reform and a purge of compromised members, while others quietly hope the scandal will blow over before election season gains momentum. But ordinary citizens have grown weary of waiting for change that never comes. In the streets and on social media, voices are rising. Voices demanding justice, accountability, and a government that serves the people instead of itself. The ANC faces a battle on not only legal, but also moral grounds. Every revelation, every leaked document, every new arrest chipped away at the image of a party once revered for its role in South Africa's liberation. What remains now is a fractured organization struggling to defend itself from the consequences of its own decay. One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. As more evidence comes to light, more secrets will be revealed. The truth of what really happened inside the corridors of power may finally be told. The nation is watching. The pressure is piling up and history is unfolding in real time. If you've made it this far into the story, you already know what's at stake. So stay tuned, because every twist, every leak, and every shocking revelation will determine not only the fate of one man, but the future of South Africa's democracy itself. It is no longer about politics. It is about the making of history.